Hello there, this is Earl Bryant coming at you from the New York City suburbs of Long Island, and it is time once again for Pearls from Earl, where it is my mission to educate, edify, and encourage excellence in every area of your life. Today's Pearl is called Life of the Party. Now, this Pearl is going to be a little bit different than most because this one is actually a tribute. This is a tribute to Big Earl, the one who gave me my name, Earl Thomas Bryant Sr. For it was 1 year ago, this very morning, at 11:05 a.m., that my father did what he told me and my sisters from the time we were children bouncing on his knee, what he always said he would do. He used to sing a song called "I'm Going Home on the Morning Train." Well, it was 1 year ago today, 11:05 a.m., that Dad did exactly what he said he would do. He went home on the morning train. Now, being that it has been a full year since that moment, it would be very easy for me to be mourning and to be sad and to be very emotional. But I would rather take the advice of an author that I read in childhood named Dr. Seuss, who famously said, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." And I can tell you, looking back, if there's one thing I know about my dad, his life truly happened. He was the life of the party because my dad knew how to bring life to the party. Because my dad understood that life itself is a party, and his attitude was that life was meant to be enjoyed and not endured. And if there's one thing I know about my dad, and one of the things that I remember best about him, is that he always brought joy to everything he did, and he brought joy to everyone he touched. He worked hard, he played hard, and he enjoyed it every step of the way. If he was watching television, he was watching his sports, or he was watching his westerns. Dad's attitude was one of joy. He had a twinkle in his eye, he had a smile on his face, and he had a laugh in his belly. And everything he did with joy, he did it with passion, he did it with enthusiasm, but he also did it without regret. Because he was fully himself, he knew who he was, and he made no apologies for it. He wasn't perfect, but he did his best at whatever he did. I remember watching him play softball as a kid, as a little boy, and the one thing I always remembered about my dad, no matter how competitive the game was, no matter how heated the competition, he never played a game without a smile on his face. He never played without a smile on his face. If he was playing with the kids in the neighborhood, he was always smiling. If he was talking to some other kids in the neighborhood, trying to keep them on the straight and narrow and keep their nose clean and keep them out of trouble, he'd give them a strong word, but he'd always smile at them. He held everybody to a high standard because he held himself to a high standard. He did his absolute best, and the people around him did their best too, because they didn't want to let him down, just like we as kids didn't want to let him down either. My dad lived with passion, he lived with joy, he lived with enthusiasm, and I have to tell you, I would much rather remember him as that big, bold, audacious, badass, strong man that I knew from a child. He was Hercules to me, he was Superman, and if he was around during that time when I was a child, I was Simba to his Mufasa, because he was all powerful to me. He was all that, a bag of chips, he was the whole grocery store. That was my dad. And it wasn't just the fact that I'd heard stories about him, which I found later were proven true. Like the fact that when he was a teenager, he plowed his father's field by himself. And when I say by himself, I mean by himself. Not with a team of horses, not with a team of oxen, not with a team of mules, where he put the yoke on them and guided a plow behind them. I mean, he literally put the yoke on his own back, on his own shoulders, and he dragged the plow to plow the fields by himself, so that my grandfather could plant his crop so that he could feed his hogs. And to give you an idea how big that field was, About a year ago at this time, I was talking to one of my cousins who grew up in that area, and he remembered that field. I asked him about Granddad's property, and he remembered, and I confirmed this with him. The field that my dad plowed was literally the size of a football field. Now, if you want to get a perspective of that, the next time you go to a football game, or the next time you tune into an NFL game or a college game on the weekend, you take a good look at that field, the whole dimension of that field. That is what my dad plowed every spring for my granddad. And to give you an idea how big a job that was, my dad, when he left for college and the Army, was replaced by a tractor. That's how big that job was. My own personal experience, I saw my dad literally uproot a tree stump in our backyard that had to be at least 36 inches in diameter. And the reason I remember that is because several neighbors of ours heard of what Dad's plan was, and they laughed at him and said he couldn't do it. You didn't laugh at my dad. I remember that day like it was yesterday because Dad dug around that tree stump with a pickaxe and a shovel. He wouldn't let me help him because I was too young to do it, and he didn't want me to get hurt. He did this whole thing by himself. He got a wheelbarrow, another neighbor helped him to carry the wheelbarrow. My dad dug around that tree stump. He threaded a chain underneath that tree stump, wrapped both ends of that chain in his arms, and literally backed up and dragged that tree stump out of the ground in front of shocked, disbelieving, speechless neighbors who laughed at him and thought he couldn't do it. That's what I remember about my dad. And a lesson I learned from my dad, which I passed on to my kids, which I hope they remember someday. One morning, when my kids were young, I made them breakfast. And I told them to go ahead and eat, and I would join them when I was finished. I fixed my plate and sat down and I was about to eat, and they asked for some more. Well, the only more there was in front of me on my plate. Without thinking, without hesitating, I immediately divided that plate, gave each half to my children, told them, eat up, go ahead and eat, don't worry about me. I washed the plate, put it away. I thought everything was fine. My kids came to me later, they were sad, looked like they were almost crying. And I wondered what was wrong, and they asked me why I didn't want to eat with them. I had to sit them down and say to them very directly, guys, I am your father. It is my job to make sure that you eat. And that means if the only food in this house is on my plate, it belongs to you and it belongs to you. I will find a way to eat. You don't have to worry about me. But I'm going to make sure that you guys eat. And that's my job, is to take care of you. I learned that from my dad because my dad took care of us. He worked double shifts, double full-time shifts, back to back, driving a bus. When he was done driving that bus, he got off the bus and he drove a cab. He did that for us, the equivalent to me of 3 full-time jobs when you think about it. But he did that for us because that's what he thought of us, because he cared about us. He did what he could for us, and he never complained about it, and he did it with enthusiasm, he did it with joy, he did it with a smile, because he was doing it for people that mattered to him. And everybody mattered to my dad. No matter where he went, he brought his smile, he brought his laugh, he brought his goodwill, he brought his enthusiasm. I had people tell me, people that worked with him, said that he was the best boss they ever had, and they missed him. They missed working for him. How many bosses get to hear that about themselves? Because they went to speak to him and to honor him and respect him. And they told me this even after he passed. My dad lived his life with passion. He lived with joy. He lived with it with enthusiasm. And he lived it without regret. And truly, to my dad, he brought life to the party because the party to him was life. And he was the life of the party. He was the life of my party. He was the life of the party for a lot of people. He brought that joy and he brought that enthusiasm. And my lesson to you in this and parting is simply one thing. If there are people in your life like that, cherish them. If they're no longer in your life, cherish the memory. And carry the lesson that they have taught you. Bring life to your party, whatever that is. Because you're only going to get out of life what you put into life. So if you have joy and enthusiasm and passion, you have a great life. Make the most of it. Make it work for you so that you too can become the life of the party and bring life and joy and passion and enthusiasm to others. And that is today's Pearl from Earl. And that one comes courtesy of Big Earl. And I hope you got some value out of that. And if you did, please do me the honor of giving me a like or a thumbs up. And please don't be stingy. Share the wealth with someone that you believe can benefit from the information that you have just received. Now, this is one of many lessons that has been reinforced to me from a group of caring, committed individuals who have reminded me to be grateful for the good that has been in my life. And I would like to invite you to experience them for yourself so they can help you to see the good that is in your life, no matter what station you're in right now. You can learn to be grateful and have a sense of gratitude and live with joy and passion, much like my father taught me and has been reinforced to me in recent months. I invite you to click on the link that I've put below this video so that you can meet this community for yourself and learn firsthand how they can teach you not only to live with joy and enthusiasm and passion in your life, but also pass it on to others in your personal and your professional life. And you'll have an opportunity to check them out for about 10 days for a very small refundable fee, $10. Check them out, see if it's your cup of tea, and see if they have something to offer you. And if not, before the 10 days are up, ask for your $10 back and you get it, no questions asked. At least you'll have the opportunity to meet some people who can show you how to be grateful for what you have personally and professionally, and how to use it for your best advantage and to serve others with a sense of joy and enthusiasm and passion the same way that my father taught me. This has been a very special Pearl from Earl that I have delivered today. It has been my privilege and my honor to share this with you. And until the next time when we gather around for yet another Pearl from Earl, when I hope to see you right back out there, this is Earl Bryant signing off, a very proud son from the suburbs of New York City, Long Island, saying take care, be well, be blessed, not stressed, be grateful for what you have, and make it a great day. Bye for now.